This is what happens when you have a really small face. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. If you don't know what's going on, I do this every year, and I actually don't know why I do it. I just finished watching Black Sunday, which is so funny because this is the 6th film. You get where I'm going? But I also thought I had to wear a sheet mask during this one because it's also known as the Mask of Satan. But it's also known as Revenge of the Vampire, which is so interesting because, I mean, I'll get to it. The film is... This is what happens when you have a really small face. This is an Italian film, although it was shot in English, but the Italian accent apparently was too thick, so they redubbed it for the American release. In that regards, I did see the American version because you could tell, obviously, it was redubbed, which is a shame because I tend to kind of stray away from that, but it was really hard to track down the original version for me. So hopefully you see the original version. If you do see this film, I think that would help, and hopefully the accents aren't too thick. I'm sure they're not. If anything, I watch subtitles on all of my films anyway. This piece every time. The film is about this vengeful witch where it opens up to this awful scene of her being, you know, crucified almost, and she gets this mask that looks like an Iron Maiden, but just the mask part nailed into her face, and it's pretty brutal. You've probably seen it for the 13 Days of Horror opening. That's like all the holes in the face. It opens up with that, and it's about her seeking revenge 2 centuries later, and she tries to possess her descendant's body, which is obviously the same actress. The film is quite confusing because they do talk about how she's a witch, but then of course she has fangs, and it's also known as Revenge of the Vampire, and she's scared of crosses, so it's like, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and then obviously like it's the Mask of Satan. I know that has to do with the mask, but you know, she's meant to be quite demonic, and not demonic, but I mean, she's evil. She's pure evil, which you think would have more to do with demons. They really mixed all of the elements in a pot, is what I'm trying to say. It's almost like she was the vampire that I was looking for in Coffin Joe, but then she's not actually a vampire because they say she's a witch. So, I mean, like, which is it? The film has several plot lines because although it's meant to be about her getting her revenge 2 centuries later, it does turn into like this younger doctor who comes along for the ride, and he falls in love with the descendant that she's trying to steal their body, and it comes like into this weird love story, and even at a point there's this romantic music, and I kind of wasn't down for that. I thought the original plot line was more interesting, and I felt like that took away from it, but something that I find is so cool about this film, and I think a lot of people will agree, is the theatrical set and design and props. It is so beautiful. The blocking of the characters, how they walk through and interact with the scene around them is just breathtaking. There's smoke, there's like fogginess, there's also like these spider webs that are done so elaborately, these huge ones. It's like a castle element where it's just amazing. I would love to explore this place, and I did read that they intentionally did it monochromatic, so it would, you know, come up more contrasted on film because obviously it's shot in black and white. I think it's so beautiful, and just to watch for the atmosphere alone, spot on. I do think that the film is pretty creepy for its time, and a lot of the special effects and makeup effects were really well done. Just the way people moved was very creepy and very interesting, and that's an aspect that I really liked, and I would have liked to know how scary it was for the time because it seems kind of spooky the way, I mean, there's a part where she's in her coffin and she like opens her eyes, and yeah, I don't know, it's just unsettling, but in a really cool aesthetic way. In saying all of that, I thought that the setup initially was really awesome. You know, like it starts with this amazing scene where, you know, as I said, they're all kind of at the stake, and they're all coming after her and her servant, and they kind of go together, and it's just a very I don't know, climactic moment, but it's at the very start of the film. And I feel like after that, you would hope that the end of the film would have, exceeded that, but it doesn't really get to that level again. So from there, it kind of, she gets reintroduced 2 centuries later, and then it's kind of like a little bit slowly downhill. You already know who she is. Obviously, there's no real mystery to it. There is like a cool moment where you're like, who is that? But other than those little tiny moments of other people realizing what's going on, there's not a lot of payoff to the film, and I felt like, it was quite anticlimactic for that. I can understand why people say it's a classic because the atmosphere of this film is amazing and it is horror to the bone, and I think that's really important. But for the storyline, it's nothing really new or, unique for me. I do think that obviously the set design, the costume design, the makeup, and the special effects, practical effects were so great and just really embodies everything spooky dooky, but the storyline for me was very much lacking. So because of everything I've just said, for me personally, if it was based on atmosphere alone, this would be like a 20 out of 10. I think that it was beautiful, and I love the fog. I loved the atmosphere. I just thought it was so amazing, and really got me into the Halloween spirit, or just spooky dooky 24/7 around here. But because of the storyline itself, and I felt like the romance between the 2 characters was just so lame. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry, I know that will disappoint some people, but please know that I do think that this film is beautifully made. It's just the story, and I can't really grade the film on the way it looks alone. I mean, I could, I guess, if I wanted to, but I've decided to go with this just because of all the reasons I've just said. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys understand. And scare score, I'm gonna give it a 5 actually, because I said this is hard because, I mean, it's not scary now, but definitely, you know what? I'm gonna do a 6 because that Iron Maiden mask, the Mask of Satan, was a lot at the start, just like my one. It was a lot. I do think there's some gory aspects, but I also think I wonder how scary it was in the 1960s. And for originality, I'm going to give it a 4. I don't think it's very original, but again, atmosphere up there, very unique in that aspect. But let's jump over to the genre map, where I think this one's gonna land pretty easily somewhere, and if it hit the mark. Okay, we're back with Black Sunday right here. 10 points to anyone who can tell me if witches are vampires or if witches have pointy teeth. I know aesthetically it would make them look awesome, but I mean, is this a thing that I didn't know about? I guess witches would have pointy teeth. I mean, have you seen that new witches still that are circulating? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like live my life over here. So paranormal, definitely, right? This is a good question. Is she a monster? Because are witches monsters? Are vampires monsters? Monster and paranormal aren't too far away from each other, to be honest. Maybe she is maybe it is more of a monster film. What do you guys think about that? I was thinking paranormal, but now I'm thinking about it, it's more of a monster kind of movie because, I mean, I would say that, I guess. Should we put her there and put vampire witch on it? Is a vampire witch paranormal? I guess by the definition we went through the other day, right? But is it also a monster? I'm going to put her in monster. And I guess because of that, hello, I'm going to put her with this. So if anyone can clear up this for me, I don't know if I'm being a dumbass, but like, is a vampire a witch now? Question mark. What do you guys think? Do you think that this one hit the mark? I actually think it did really well because the atmosphere that I've been going on and on about, but also I think that the storyline was very appropriate for its time. I don't think that most people would have a problem with a storyline like I did. I think a lot of people would like that kind of romantical aspect. It's just not for me personally. So I do think it hit really close. Dead of Night, I think, hit a little bit closer because I think that that's for like a broader audience. It speaks like, I don't know, internationally to people. Not that this doesn't, I guess, but I feel like this one is, yeah, I don't know, for a bigger audience. I don't know. Even though I put November there, I'm going to put this guy here. Let me know what you think of that. It's just a little bit, you can't tell, but it's a smidge lower than that. But maybe I'll give him a little tilt so we can see him better. I don't know, it makes it look like November does better, which I don't think November does do better. I'm gonna move him up here. And I think that gives him a closer effect. What do you guys think? The bullseye is a hard one. What do you guys think? Thank you for joining me again for another 13 days of horror. I know I look crazy. How cool is that? But I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you tomorrow.